Far more culture than a bowl of yogurt or acidophilus. Tune in to the podcast that you must not miss. You'll love it so. It's Cindy Marinangel Show. Tell everyone you know. Tune in to the Cindy Marinangel Show.
Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome Andy Libby, our guest today on the Cindy Marinangel Show on the Pod Brother Nation. Thank you, Stephen Kimbrough, for having us. Hi, Andy Libby.
Hi, Cindy Marinangel. How are you? You're looking gorgeous.
Thank you, and you look very dapper yourself.
Thank you. Do you like my COVID haircut? I did it myself.
I love it. You actually, did you use a razor or scissors? Did you go in?
I used electric buzz clippers. Yeah, and there's some scissors to tidy up.
Oh, I'm very impressed. So Andy Libby is the managing director at the ARC Theater Company. You're also a brilliant actor yourself, sometimes actress.
Sometimes actors, that's right.
You are an amazing director. You're also the creator of Eavesdropper, which is Los Angeles' longest running play, and how I originally met you, because you cast me in Eavesdropper as a lesbian.
Yes, I know. You're not a lesbian, but you play one on TV, right?
I played a lot of lesbians, hookers, mistresses. I guess women with a little flavor.
I know.
Hi, welcome. You're in Los Angeles, right?
We're in Los Angeles. I'm talking to you live from the ARC Theater Company in North Hollywood, California. We're at Lankershim Boulevard, 5708 Lankershim Boulevard, just north of where Lankershim and Burbank intersect. If you need to visit us, we're a block north of Denny's. That's the easiest way to find us.
You're in the NoHo Arts District, yes?
We are. We're in the heart of the NoHo Arts District, and we're a member of that, and we're still functioning thanks to Nancy at the NoHo Arts District, the council there, and we're very grateful. We received a grant from the city of Los Angeles to expand our cyber theater. You know, we're in the age of COVID-19 as we're talking about this. You can't have live entertainment for people with people seated, even socially distanced at this point.
Right, no.
So what we're going to be doing, we can't bring people to the theaters, so we can bring theater to people with the ARC Cyber Theater.
Okay, so how do people log on to that? We'll repeat it again at the end.
There's a website, and we'll repeat it 1,000 times. It's arcnoho.org. That's ARK, like Noah's Ark, and the NoHo, short for North Hollywood, .org, short for organization, arcnoho.org. And you're going to be able to sign in and see a lot of cool content. Some things will be free. Some things we'll be asking for a small donation just to cover our cost and to also be able to pay the actors. And you'll even be able to tip the actors online if you really like to pay the actors, right?
Pay the actors! Pay the actors!
Yay! I'm drinking from my ARC NoHo coffee mug, and if you donate to the ARC, which you can do online, it's a 501c3, not for profit. It's tax deductible. As a way of saying thank you, we will send you a lovely coffee mug or a T-shirt or a COVID-19 mask. There'll be lots of little things you can get, some tchotchkes and some swag from us.
Okay, hold your cup up higher. And Andy, I'm just going to ask one technical thing. Okay, what does it have? Little dots?
Hazelnut decaf today. See, it's fully enamel, and what I like about it, it's also red on the inside. You can kind of see that there.
Yeah.
There it is. There it is. That's my non-dairy hazelnut creamer in my decaf coffee.
I love it.
Theater Company mug.
Thank you for being non-dairy with your creamer.
Yes,
and just go ahead, look straight at yourself, because otherwise it looks like you're looking off to the side.
There we go. Hi, me.
Yeah, but you're not wall-eyed, so I want people to know that.
Yeah,
So,
we're on stage in our black box at the Arc Theater Company. We do cyber through Stephen E. Kimbrough, the Pod Brother. You can also see our content, some of it at podbrother.com. We've been able to jump ahead of the COVID virus. We were already doing cyber theater and streaming before it became a necessity for everybody. And one of the things we're going to be doing is we'll have original content, like some of the things you see behind me now. Here we go. We're really big on one-person and two-person shows. So,
you are.
Edgar Allan Poe, the fourth.
Edgar Allan
Edgar Allan
Poe.
Poe, the first, and Possessed.
I think your finger's over the volume, Andy.
Oh.
I think
Okay, here we
your finger's
go.
over the speaker.
Are we here now?
Go out a little bit farther.
Okay. Yeah. We're going to have Edgar Allan Poe the fourth. We're going to have Edgar Allan Poe the fourth playing Edgar Allan Poe the first, the grim poet.
He's
and
an
he is the
actual
great
relative?
Yes, he's the great grandnephew of Edgar Allan Poe.
How
And
cool is
Poe
that?
had no children. Edgar Allan Poe had no children of his own. He's descended from the brother. You can see maybe behind me here. Here's a portrait of him. This is the actor, but it looks like the real deal. Here we go. You see that? There we go.
Yes. Oh, wow, he looks exactly like him.
Yeah, it's a very compelling, convincing show, and we had record crowds for it last summer. And what I liked about it is, women usually are the people picking what shows you see at the theater. And this is a show where the audience was actually 80% guys who came to see the show. Some as buddies, some as singles, some in groups. But it's actually it's something about it that guys feel comfortable checking out the theater that they might not normally do. But we've got a lot of shows coming up. They're going to be 1 and 2 people shows so that we keep COVID-19 compliant. And people do not have to leave their home. You're going to be able to sit in your home and you're going to be able to double dub YW. You know what that is? Double dub YW. Watch when you want. Say it with me. Double dub YW.
Wait, WWYW.
So WWYW or double dub YW.
Watch when you want.
Yes, watch when you want. So if you want to do it, if you've got the 4th of July weekend, you're bored or some holiday weekend, you can watch it anytime, day or night, and you can just log in and you'll be able to watch it in your own pace. If you need to pause it, to make some popcorn or go to a little boys' room, little girls' room, or answer a phone call, you can do that. So you can stream it. You can watch when you want.
I love that. I love that. And so
anywhere in the world.
Is there a ticket price? How do you log on? Is it complimentary?
What you do is you'll sign up and you'll get your own individual account, your own ID, and it's free to sign up. And then some things will be free on there, and there'll be some things which they'll ask for a donation on, just so we can cover costs and pay for the actors. We're a not-for-profit organization. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We're 20 years old. We're financially compliant with all that. And
how many seats are in the theater?
Huh?
How many seats?
Oh, well, we have one seat's 30 and the other seat's 45. But by using the cyber theater, the sky's the limit. There can be 1 million people watching. And we've had a lot of shows where they weren't even publicized, and suddenly there are thousands of people who are watching this content. We're like, how did they even find us? So, but we have a marketing plan set up for people who are interested in live content, who are interested in theater, who are listed in classic film, new works. We have a playwright in residence, Steve Fife, who is going to be
brilliant. I've worked with Steve before.
Yeah, Steve, you've worked with Steve. What was the project we worked with together on Hammett?
I've done multiple projects with Steve.
We both have.
We've worked together, and Yuval Shrem directed that one, and then we did. Gosh, I think we did a film of Steve's. You know what, Andy? I've loved our collaboration because you are someone who has a passion for the theater. Gets it. You get it, and you know the business end, but you also can get up and rock a stage. So Thank you very much. All hail, and to manage a theater, cheers to that with my, I was managing theaters in New York, and I know how much work it is, and I'm so impressed with your enthusiasm and being able to just downshift and put stuff online. So congratulations.
Thank you for calling it enthusiasm rather than insanity. they're very they're very close cousins. They're identical cousins, just like the Patty Duke show. Insanity and enthusiasm. I
So I want to
appreciate
talk
it.
about your history and how things started, because I know your family. I know you were from Jacksonville, Florida, spent some time in Mississippi. I know you had a very lovely Southern mama who wore
I
gloves
did.
and hats, who loved you, who loved her some Andy Libby,
She
was
did.
supportive. So tell me
Yeah.
about how you got into the arts. How was your family supportive? How did that come about?
When I was a wee chap, two things. My dad is my dad. Both of my parents are now deceased. My dad was an Episcopal priest, and he ran radio and television for the entire Episcopal denomination in New York City. And so I got my start in commercials at age 4, and I was playing the kazoo for a spot called "That's the Way It Is." Truly, truly is. It's nice to share. When someone shares with me, I feel glad. So that got me my spot. But then my New York stage debut was doing the Hokey Pokey at age 5 at PS 98 in Douglaston, Long Island, New York. That's over in Queens. And
Right.
my grandmother was visiting, my Southern grandma, and she was waving at me from the back and smiling. And I think that's when I got the bug.
It's
So
always
there's
when you get
there's
that
no
first
cure.
reaction on stage. Like that's what happened with me too. I got a laugh when I was in kindergarten, and I was like, I like
How
this.
did you? How did you get started? What was the positive reinforcement that bit
Mine
you
was
with the acting bug?
in kindergarten I was cast in the lead of the play. I was Spring. I played my first queen. Everyone had to bow to
Wow.
the play. And I started hiding behind a wooden snow cloud, waiting at the beginning of the play. And I peeked out to see what was happening, and people laughed because I peeked out. And so I did this, and then I did this, and they laughed again, and I went, "This is great." So I
Right?
went from there. So we both started when we were babies. So tell me then,
Right.
like, jump us through. Were you a theater kid all the way through school?
I was. I went to when I went to. I remember in first or second grade, I was in a musical, an operetta called Over the Garden Wall, in which I played an elf, and the teacher cast her son as the Red Robin or something like that. I was very jealous, but I've forgotten all about Stephen Vogel. I know where you live, Stephen Vogel. I'm looking you up. But I actually got yanked off on stage because someone behind me kept pinching me in my elf costume, and the teacher pulled me out, and I was like, "Stop it!" And so the teacher pulled me off, and so I got the hook. In second grade. But then I did Scrooge when I was in 5th grade in Mississippi.
Did you play
And
Scrooge?
I did Scrooge in A Christmas Carol. I got the lead in the show. And, like you talk about, you get the lead in the show, it reinforces your delusion and your passion. And now in LA, I've been doing a show called Carol's Christmas for a little over 10 years.
Yes.
In which I do Scrooge and drag. So that's
I do believe I donated a tutu to that costume, didn't I?
You did indeed. You helped with the cause to keep the illusion up, so that was not shocking audiences.
I was trying to keep the illusion on.
Illusion. If you've watched RuPaul,
Drag Scrooge was showing.
yes, my camel toe, right? It's a family show. Look up camel toe. Ask your mom and dad. But yeah, you've helped and you've done that, and then you're doing a one-woman show too, which I hope we can bring here either cyberwise or in person. But you're doing your Marlene Dietrich show, right?
Yeah. I've produced that a bunch since moving to the East Coast, and we just had a fundraiser in May, which went fairly well. We screened it 3 times, got special permission from the writer, which was really nice. So yeah, I mean, I would like, my plans after that were to go on tour. So I would love to sweep through LA. When is COVID over?
When is COVID over, right?
Why are the numbers going up?
I know, but we can stream you from New York. And if you're a person who's watching and has creative content of any kind, if you do stand-up comedy, Stephen Kimbrough, the Pod Brother, has some wonderful online open mics. And you can also get tipped from anywhere in the world. You can perform from anywhere in the world. You can get tipped from anywhere in the world. Our mutual friend Bill Devlin, I think he made like $130 in about 13 minutes. That's like $10 a minute as a stand-up comedian in tips. That's
So
pretty
let's
good.
talk about
Not
how
having to
that
leave your
works.
home.
If there's a comedian out there who wants to submit, how do they do that? And
What they can do is send your information to arcnoho@gmail.com, or you can visit our website, arcnoho.org. That's ARK, like Noah's Ark, .org, O-R-G, short for organization.
arknoho.org.
Because we're a nonprofit organization. So we'd love to have comics. You can get yourself some gas money or some pizza money or some power bill money by doing that.
And the tipping is set up. It's like a it's like an app. It's called.
Yeah, they click on your pick and they tip you, and they can pick we have some preset amounts so they can customize the tip for you. Who knows? Maybe you'll find your sugar daddy online through your stand-up comedy if you're a guy or a girl who's got some funny stuff.
Right. Who needs what's that trashy website where everyone goes on looking for that?
Yeah, the trashy website. Yes. You and I know nothing about that, right?
So
if you want to be Cindy's sugar daddy or my sugar daddy.
Well, I'm spoken for, darling, but
exactly. We're spoken for. So, what's going on in New York with your theater scene? Because we're actually using the Theater Guild, the Broadway Theater Guild, as our guidelines to help reopen, and then we're going beyond that. Are they talking still about reopening in January? Is that what's
well, they pushed it till January right now, which I think
January 2021, right?
Yeah, because look, I mean, it's a lot of work to put up a show. It's so much money,
Yeah.
and if one person goes to the theater and gets it and dies or something, I mean, come on, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So, let's talk. I mean, look, I moved to New York to do Broadway, and so this is what I've been enjoying. And I'll throw this question at you. We talked about this in a previous show with Yuval Shrem. What do you think the artist's place is within this current situation?
Well, I think I like what Shakespeare said about holding up a mirror, to nature. I think, and that the theater is the brief and extract chronicles of the time. Better to have a bad epitaph on your grave than to have an ill report while you're alive. I think it's important that we reflect what's going on. And that includes everything. That includes the social landscape, the racial landscape, the COVID landscape, and the political landscape, because they're all, intertwined together. And I think, one, we need to be giving people, one is very simple. I think to inform people, you need to entertain them first. And people have a hunger to be entertained. Look at the Roman Empire, bread and circuses, right? During the Great Depression, people couldn't afford milk, but they would still shell out 10 cents to go to the movies or go to a vaudeville house to see live entertainment. So we have, it's a calling, and it's a noble calling to entertain people, to help relieve people, to give people release, hope, escape. But two, I think you have to reflect the times we're in, and whether that's with, there are a lot of stand-up comics who've talked about COVID, which is a very serious thing. Millions of people are going to die before this is over.
Terrible.
And so people are like, well, why should we make fun of that? Well, look at Hamlet with Shakespeare. Hamlet has a gravedigger chucking skulls and bones out of a live open grave. Okay? So you have to, one of the ways you face tragedy is with laughter. It's one of the ways that we cope. Mm-hmm. Pain and suffering produce laughter. Look at all the funny Black, Jewish, Irish, etc. comedians we have over the years, right?
Yeah.
That our laughter is a way of releasing pain. So we have to feel free and comfortable. People are like, oh, we shouldn't joke about that. No, absolutely, you have to joke about that. Mm-hmm. It's changed every way we live, right? Mm-hmm. And third, we have to speak truth to power. There's a lot of social change going on, and whether you believe that is good change or bad change, artists need to add their voices to it. We can't be silent one way or another. If you feel something has gone too far in one way or another direction, it's your obligation as an artist to speak up and be involved. We're involved here in that we have always been the Arc Theater Company, and for 21 years, so we're entering our 21st year, is been a place of diversity for people of color, for people of various religious backgrounds, political backgrounds,
Sexual.
genders and sexual orientations, all those good things. And we have to celebrate that diversity and embrace that diversity.
And you don't prejudice against burlesque.
No, we love burlesque. You know that. We know that we're waiting for you to come back and do burlesque, but we can stream your burlesque show. Cindy is a great burlesque artist.
We launched burlesque, my burlesque, and Andy helped cast and provided, space, and it was called burlesque.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very, very supportive. You started all of this, Andy. I blame you.
Yeah.
Well, and I want to say too, I love what you just said about all the artists and that it's our responsibility to speak up. And also, what's interesting to me is all of this quarantining. Artists spend a lot of time alone anyway, and in LA, you're alone a lot unless you get in a car and go see people or you live with people. So I've found that my artist friends are less I gotta get out than my street friends, regular friends.
Sure.
Non-creative friends.
Right.
But I want to talk a bit because this is quite an accomplishment to have Los Angeles's longest running play, Eavesdropper.
Yes. Yes.
And I know Eavesdropper has been turned into a script that is welcoming funding, right? This is a full-length feature.
Yeah, full-length feature.
So let's talk a little bit about let's talk about the history of this.
Okay, this started with a shorter play, which was adapted into Eavesdropper, which I saw in Chicago in the spring of 2007, and I thought would make, 1997, pardon me, and I thought would make a really good indie film. So we produced it, we bought the rights, and then I moved to LA and we produced it successfully a number of times, and then I came to LA, and we had a theater, the Underground Theater Company, run by Steve Helgoff. We were expanding into a second space called the Underground Annex. They needed a play. I said, I got to play. Well, it needs to be about 8 to 12 characters. I got to play. It needs to be young people. Got to play. It needs to run about an hour or a little over. I said, I've got it. I said, what is it? And we took the play and we adapted it, and it became Eavesdropper. And the play is been running since it opened October 13th. It opened on Friday the 13th, October 13th, 2006, and was running nonstop until we hit the speed bump with the COVID virus. So March was the last. The law said we couldn't do it. So we're retooling it right now. It's still in production. Nothing has stopped on that end. We just can't show it to you. But now we're going to have a way to show it to you through the Arc Cyber Theater. And people will be able to see it all over the world. Some of them have never seen it at all. But it's funny because, it's even if we stop and even if we shut down completely and never come back, 2006 to 2020 is a really long run to try to catch us up. So don't try. I would encourage you in all creative endeavors, but don't come after me. It won't work.
And your creative brilliance with that was continued casting diversity. So everyone in LA's got 5 gigs going and they got to go out for an audition. So the show, can I talk about the
talk about the show? Yeah, please do.
Okay, so the storyline is a guy runs into a frat party and hides in the bathtub, and he listens to all the conversations that go on in the bathroom when people think they're private. So it's a split screen. I'm getting a chill. It's a split screen on the stage, and one side is improv of the frat party, and it's nonverbal. It's a nonverbal improv for the entire play.
Totally pantomime, yep.
Totally pantomime, but everyone knows their character and knows their storyline, and it's brilliant. And then as people break off and go in the bathroom, think about it, the girls go in the bathroom, the guy goes alone, like what happens? And it's from the Eavesdropper. You know this guy's in the tub.
Yeah, here he is.
Here's the poster.
Yes. Oh, and that was the original Eavesdropper in the tub. And we also have to mention
Pedro Shanahan, the original Eavesdropper with the
yes,
mohawk.
Pedro. I got a chance to work with him, and he was brilliant. And then we also must mention our dear other love who played the eavesdropper forever, who's just passed, the Reverend Mel.
Reverend Mel, yeah, exactly. We had the beautiful thing about it is Pedro, who's on the poster there behind me, with the mohawk, was the original eavesdropper. He has gone on to work with Tim Robbins with the Actors Gang, and he's also toured all over the world, Brazil, China, Italy, and they also do work in prisons. So he was one of the artists who gave back. He did a
also
great
had his
job with it.
own mohawk that was like
Yeah,
legit.
and it was not original. When he came to audition for us, he was actually our second choice. We're going to go with somebody else. And when he came to the callback, he said, "What should this guy look like?" And I said, "It should be edgy. It should be something maybe like Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver." So the next time I saw him, there was the mohawk.
You're kidding.
And our first choice, for reasons I can't get into, was not able to fulfill it. So we brought in. Well, if you call somebody on the phone, I'm not going to say the actor's name. If you call somebody on the phone and they're drunk and or high and don't remember who you are or auditioning for you, it's probably not a good idea to put them there in your lead. But anyway, so what happened was Pedro came in, and Pedro was with you and with the cast as we took it to San Francisco in the summer of 2007.
Yes, that was fun. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and we have that going in 2 cities, and that helped launch another theater impresario into LA, and theater companies, and those people helped found the Fringe Festival. So we've been able to seed a lot of stuff. A lot of people who've gone on from Eavesdrop. We've had David Carradine's granddaughter, Mariah Carradine, play Lulu the lead. We have had Ben Dreyfuss, who's Richard Dreyfuss's son. We've had James Spader's son playing Joe, who's the fraternity president. So you've had famous families, and you've also had we've had Lillian Gish's great grandniece, I think, or great grandniece. So we've had Marie Gish. We've had all kinds of people, known and unknown, and I'm not going to say her name, but apparently we had someone audition for us years ago who was a little throwing a little deer in the headlights at the audition, but it's okay because she went to marry into the royal family.
Shut the front door. Shut the front door. Are you kidding?
I had the headshot for years until right before the royal wedding. Somebody stole it as a souvenir.
Way.
Yeah, I had the headshot for years.
Well, she's back in LA.
Yes, meanwhile back in LA. But see, she passed up being part of LA's longest running play.
Well,
I hope it was worth it.
She didn't know what it was.
I wonder now, reflecting back on it, would she rather be a member of the royal family or in LA's longest running play?
She doesn't want to be a part of the royal family either.
No. Long live the queen, but long live eavesdropper. So,
oh my gosh. Yeah.
But we're going to be bringing that back. And COVID actually we had funding coming in for the movie that went into escrow, and then someone involved with that got COVID and pulled the money out of escrow. So we're hoping when this all passes, the eavesdropper movie will be moving forward, and Cindy Marinangel plays Jan, the lesbian psychic vampire psychiatrist. So we're hoping that will happen in 2021.
I think we've already tried the costume on and everything, like right before I left.
We did. If my computer were not misbehaving today, I could pull up pictures of you in your costume. I wish I could.
We were at my going away party, and you're like, you have to put this Jan costume on because you're moving, and I don't know when I'm going to see you again. I know.
Yes. I have to show people what you look like. It's right. It's quite stunning.
Oh, thank you. You know what? I just want to say what I got out of that play, because I did that show for a long time, and I'm an improv girl from Chicago, Second City, and I love the opportunity to be on stage from the majority of the show, and if I wanted to sit on the couch and do nothing, that was okay. You know, just to be watched in a nonverbal way and interaction for that long of a long form improv that's silent. It was a brilliant, great exercise.
You're one of the great silent movie actresses of our time. You really are. Yeah, it's an exercise. A lot of people like that because even when you're not doing dialogue, you're still on stage. The actors are required to be in character. When the audience, when we do it in a non-COVID way, when the audience enters, they enter. It's like they enter into an apartment rather than a theater. Okay, and so they have the. Oh, my computer looks like it wants to come alive. They have the experience. The audience members have the experience that they're at the party, but in a non-interactive way, like a fly on the wall. They get to be a wallfly at this
They
party.
get to be an eavesdropper also.
They're an eavesdropper as well. And you want the audience to have the experience that they've been invited to this party and they spent the night with these people. I compare it to a 1970s movie, for those of you who remember, American Graffiti. Is you feel that you've spent the night with these young people who are about to graduate, who are graduating high school and about to go on to college, a lot of them, and it's their last summer together, and you feel you get to know them as people, and that's what we try to do with Eavesdropper. For the audience, it's not just a play, it's an experience of eavesdropping at this party. For the actor, it's a challenge because you have to be disciplined enough to be in character nonstop for 2 hours straight with no intermission. And to
no bathroom either. You gotta pee. You gotta go in the alley.
Yeah.
Oh, the glamour of Hollywood. Hollywood
yes,
is
more of the glamour. More of the glamour of Hollywood. It's really tricky. It's really tricky. We never had any accidents. In 13, 14 years, no one ever had an accident. But,
so what's the budget? What's the budget you're looking for? What does it take to make this film?
The film is a $7 million budget in an ideal world, a $3.8 million budget in a scroungy world. And we can go with the range. A lot of it depends on, well, what's the difference? That's the big jump. There are some star names we'd like to plug into supporting roles that are not in the play script, and also there's some star names we'd like to plug into. They're two teenage girls, Mary and Maggie, and we would love to use the original cast, but you got to realize, 14 years later, these girls are in their 30s or in their 40s.
Yeah.
So we can't do that. So those would be star names. It has a continuous soundtrack. The soundtrack is actually both music and sound effects. It's a character in the Eavesdropper movie because it's about listening. It's about people learning to listen and what we hear and what we filter out and phase out. It's about everybody has secrets. And some of those
everybody goes in the bathroom to tell their secret, basically.
Right. Yeah. Everybody. The eavesdropper is he's an uninvited party guest. We learn why later. He's lurking behind the shower curtain, eavesdropping, listening to everybody's dark secrets, very intimate moments, and ends up witnessing a crime. And it's a comedic thriller with an unexpected twist ending. And that's what's made it so popular over the years. Like Mousetrap, we tell people don't reveal the ending of the show. Mousetrap is Britain's longest running, actually the longest running play in the world, if I'm not mistaken, or at least Britain's longest running play.
Really?
So, it's, and that's kind of where we got the idea. Wouldn't that be great to be the longest running? And we made that as our goal, and we achieved it. And nobody even comes close. It's the longest running play in LA in the 21st century. Nothing comes close. And we're not talking about these shows that do Christmas Carol once a year or something else once a year. This has been a continuous production since 2006. And
congratulations.
Thank you. Well,
let's get this puppy funded. I mean, really, 3.6 and 7, those are both low budget. So
I would love to see that happen.
The cool thing about the script is that there's enough room for improv. I know as people put improvs in, you would add them into the script. And so modern verbiage and slang can be slotted in through the whole thing.
Yeah.
So Honestly, watching, there are enough characters that you identify with at least one of them. Everyone comes out of there saying that was me.
You were in the show. You were in the show, and someone you know is in the show, and you come out of there saying, "Yeah, that's my exactly."
Yeah,
And it's
so
like
it's great.
it's like 13 characters, so there's a lot of. It happens really fast. You see there are frat boys. One of them is in a rocky relationship with Lulu, who's the female protagonist, and she is based on her history goes way back, long before any of us were alive. Playwright named B.F. Vedekund, who wrote Spring Awakening, wrote the Lulu plays. And she's the Lulu from the Lulu plays updated. And some of the characters from those and from Spring Awakening, like Mary and Maggie, these two Catholic high school girls who crashed the party, they come from Spring Awakening. And Joe, the fraternity brother who tries to woo her, seduce her, he comes from Spring Awakening. The alcoholic Alan comes from the Lulu plays. So does the lesbian character you play, Jan, and Marcia. They come from the two lesbians. They come from the Lulu plays. And then the other characters are kind of warped out of TV. From the lesbians are Jan, Marcia, and Cindy, the Brady Dykes. That's how the playwrights call them. That's not a nice word, but that's how they're listed. And Marcia refers to herself in that way. Don't yell at me. Don't send us mail. But then the three frat boys, who are Joe, Carl, and Skeeter, and they're sort of based on the guys from. They're inspired by the guys from Friends. It's this amalgam of ancient German plays from the 1800s to TV from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and today. So there are cops that show up at the party, and the way they behave are very current to what is going on in the news. And some of the things that we're asking about, is this right? Is this the way we want our police to protect and serve? A lot of women's issues. It's the battle of the sexes. Eavesdropper is essentially a story of the battle of the sexes set at a party.
It's so adaptable and fluid. So
yeah, it is.
It encompasses all of the current issues that we have going on that you just touched on.
Yeah, it really does. It doesn't ever get dated. We do update the slang a bit. Some of the slang that was current in the late 90s seems a little brittle and a little dated. So we do let people update the slang. Mm-hmm. And it is intended for mature audiences. There is it's peppered with 4-letter words. It is there are
Netflix. Like, what about?
They're expletives. They're expletives. Yes.
Yeah.
It would be, if it was a movie, it would probably be an R. There's violence. There is no nudity, though. There's no nudity in the play. And there's a
lot of making out going on, though.
There's a lot of making out going on. There's a lot of steamy adult situations, but no nudity.
A lot of nonverbal making out over there on the.
A lot of nonverbal. I think
you had a couple people get married. There were some relationships that went on.
There are relationships that formed from it. Some of them very long term. I'm not going to say their names because they're kind of big. They became pretty big in Cartoon Network. Behind the scenes. We did have people there are a couple of relationships that are going on, I guess, 10, 12, 14 years later. And there's some that, didn't last. They were showmances. Mm-hmm. But there are a lot of friendships that have formed. There are friendships that have formed with people that are ongoing to this day, including you and me.
Yes. No, for real.
We're still buddies.
It's so amazing, and I was out in the alley waiting to audition, and there was Bill Devlin, and he and I both got in the show, and we're friends for life, and he's his wife are expecting, and we're still, here we are. So talk about your acting a little bit, will you? Because you're so amazing when you get on stage, and yet you never lead with that you're a brilliant actor, but you are, and you're obviously, anyone who's listening can tell you how well read you are and how you're like a brilliant mind. But can we talk about your acting side?
Yeah, it's funny. We just had a COVID-19 style premiere of a new film I'm doing, thanks to Steve Helgoff, with Cinecat Pictures. Cinecat Films are the people who I launched the underground theaters in Hollywood with. And the film is called Not a Match. And I play this sort of frumpy, middle-aged Jewish gay guy who loves Christmas and who is looking for love online in all the wrong places and cannot find it. So he ends up on the traditional dating sites. So he ends up ordering a robot to be delivered to him, a male robot. And it's called Not a Match. And it is a festival short. It's just been, they just showed the first cut of it at the Underground Theater in Hollywood. Steve Helgoff directed it and wrote it with Craig Victor, and Frank Rosenoff produced it. And my brilliant boyfriend, the guy who plays my boyfriend, Brandon, in the movie looks like he's a Ken doll straight out of the package.
What's his name?
They did an amazing job with his makeup and the packaging, so he looks like he just came out of a plastic mold, or he's one of the replicants from Blade Runner. He's like physically perfect, and yeah.
Fun.
So,
what's his name?
But Brendan Healy. Brendan Healy is the actor who plays the robot, and he's a genius. It's a 2-person movie that's just come out. You're going to be able to see that at the film festival circuit, and then online. You can look up Cinecat, Cinekat. I know you're a cat lover. He's a cat lover. Cinecat online. You can follow them on Instagram. You can follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and they have their own website, and they have a great number of interesting, edgy, unique indie films which are coming out, and Not a Match is just one of them. And I get to be a cartoon character in it too. That's my favorite thing. I get to be a they animate me as well. Me and my boyfriend.
Oh my gosh, how cool!
I'm a cartoon, Cindy. I've always been a cartoon, but I get to be one. But,
I have to throw in, Andy, something I love about you is you have a great head of hair. And so every time I see you, you are doing something different with it. It's either, when I first met you, it was long and curly. And then it was like yellow blonde. And then it was like, then it went platinum. And then it was short. And then you had dreads. And then you're like a chameleon. Like you're always like transforming.
Well, I am a hair model, Cindy, as you may know.
But
right now, there's no hair modeling work because of COVID. I cut it myself. That's true. It's about, I think it's for me, because I'm a character actor, and even when I'm a lead actor, I'm one of those character leads. You get to be a chameleon. You get to change your look. And the greatest thing, I don't know if you've had this with your parents, is when your parents would come see you at a show or in a movie and didn't recognize you. I had some Hollywood producers come to see me in Carol's Christmas, also courtesy of Steve Helgoff, and Steve Helgoff produced and often directs. Craig Victor sometimes directs, and it co-wrote with Brent Stevens. Carol's Christmas, it's Scrooge in drag. And I'm not a drag queen. I don't do drag, but I play a drag queen on stage. And I had some Hollywood producers sit through the whole play and say, "When is Andy coming out? Did he just..." That was him. What? That was Scrooge in drag. No, that was him.
Brilliant. That's the
fun,
biggest compliment you can get as an actor.
To dissolve into the character like sugar in tea is, what I like to do.
Now that is a very sweet Southern saying, Andy.
Oh, I love me some sweet tea.
To dissolve into, what did you say? To dissolve like sugar.
Sweet. Dissolve. My goal as an actor is to dissolve like sugar in tea into the character. Dissolve into the character like sugar in tea.
I love it.
And you become invisible, become a part of that. You're always there, you're always present, but you're now immersed in what you have to do. We're storytellers. We have to tell stories. It's not about, I know a lot of people live for applause, and that's great, but sometimes you don't get the applause. And if you're on a film set, you don't know if there's any...
You don't get the laugh when you think you got it the night before and it took the house down. You can't. Sometimes there's more people on stage than there are in the audience, and you better kick it. You better still rock it out. Yeah. You better love it. You better love it.
But that's what I like about your work, like with your Marlene Dietrich play, is you. Uh, there are moments where you're just completely gone, and we're watching Marlene Dietrich, and we're transported back in time to the 1960s when she's giving that performance, and it's just magic. It's that
Thank
illusion and it's that experience which you get when the actor connects with material, and then the whole kit and caboodle connects with the audience. And I think you
Willard
do that.
Manis, Willard Manis wrote such a beautiful play. Thank you for saying all of that, Andy. And it's funny you would use illusions because that's one of the songs I sing. It's actually my favorite song that Dietrich has done. That and Black Market, which is really prevalent right now. You know, she says, "Black Market, sneak around the corner. Come, I'll give you everything you need." You know, which like right now you're like, oh, you know, how are you going to get toilet paper? How are you going to get, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
sneaking around.
It's apropos for today. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, which I hope you get to do it. If you now you remember, you're a lifetime member at the Actors Studio, and I got to work with you and Martin
I got
Landau
in
at the
when I
Actors
was doing
Studio.
Eavesdropper. I was accepted
I know.
during the play. Yeah.
Can I take 120% credit for that? No.
No, but you were so
I'll
great. You
take,
like
I'll
announced
take
it
one.
to
I'll
everybody.
take 100% credit. That's your talent. That's your talent. And now you trained. Now I trained with the National American Shakespeare Company, and I trained at the Joe and Baron D.W. Brown Studio in Santa Monica. And through them, I got to work with some great people like Anthony Hopkins, and they brought in Susan Sarandon and Sean Penn and people like that for seminars. And then I trained also with Marcel Marceau, the French mime. I got to train with him in Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's
Wow.
how I knew how to teach people to do all that pantomime silent work on stage. Now where did you go before you remember the Actors Studio? Where were you
Gosh,
honing the craft?
you know, I did, well, I was Chicago Second City. I was a theater minor at
Wow.
Purdue University. I did at Second City. I was a conservatory graduate. My first teacher, first day was Nia Vardello. So my Big Fat Greek Wedding. She was just dating at the time Ian Gomez. They based my Big Fat Greek Wedding about their marriage. You know.
Wow.
Stephen Colbert was one of my teachers. You know, we just
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. So
This Stephen Colbert from the Late Show on CBS.
Yeah, Colbert.
Wow.
He used to come in looking skinny and in black and like kind of like, you know, like just deep into it. And we did the best. I'm dying to get on his show and I want to get in the audience. I think you can say something before. And I just want to tell him we did the best exercise one time. He had like 30 of us in a room. There's nothing in the room. And he said, everyone go around, you know, you make a sound and you beat on the sound. So I'm doing this, you know, you walk and then you do bump, bump the whole time. And eventually it just turned into this frenzy of like, we did it. It lasted so long. We were all just dripping. And then he looked at everyone. He says, go home. It was the most brilliant class. I mean, he was just amazing. So to watch his rise, to watch Nia pop, to watch, you know, I mean, Friends, it's fun, isn't it? To watch everybody. And so
it is.
Yeah.
It is to watch people perform and watch people grow and do their thing. It's amazing. What a gift to have a great teacher like that, and you've used it very well. As long as I've known you, you've always been creating content, and we would love for you. One of the things I'd love to have you involved in with the Art Theater Company, we're doing this. I'm going to show you up another thing. We're doing old time radio theater.
Oh, how fun! Really?
And we were doing this before COVID, and we have 60 radio theater scripts, which are public domain or original material that we're going to.
Cool.
And there's sci-fi, and there's mystery, and there's comedy, and there's western, and there's family, and there's we're going to be doing a recreation of Orson Welles' War of the Worlds, so people can from the night that panicked America when he had the fake Martian invasion that sounded like news broadcasts.
Yeah.
You know, it's the original fake news. We talk about fake news a lot. It was the original fake news. We're going to be doing a Christmas Carol. We're going to be doing classics and modern stuff, detective stuff, thrillers, Sherlock Holmes. It's just going to be endless. So anybody who's listening anywhere in the world, if you want to get involved with our old time radio theater, we're going to be recording and then streaming it. And and we've already been doing this before COVID, but people can log in and see you anytime, watch when you want, YW, watch when you want, and they can stream it anytime, and they can also tip the actors. The actors will have tip jars that are linked to their card or bank account, and they can receive.
Even $1, like a couple bucks, $5.
It could be a buck, it could be a couple bucks. You'd be surprised
5,000, 5 million.
5 million entire countries. Yeah,
I'd take a small island with a large chateau. But
exactly, exactly. But
we'll
so
fly everybody in.
exactly, you can donate it, and you can
We'll
be in
do
our old time radio team. Anywhere in the world, anyone who's listening to your show today, the Cindy Marinangel Show, can contact us at arknoho.org, arknoho.org, and you can sign up to be part of the Old Time Radio Theater, which will be doing podcasting and streaming live, courtesy of Stephen Kimbrough. Now, our other Stephen, Stephen Fife, he's our playwright in residence. He is our Gore Vidal playwright in residence. Gore Vidal was involved with the Art Theater Company in its formative days. He's since gone to meet his maker. But Steve is going to be doing his play Blue Kiss, which was an official Fringe Festival show twice, which is the story of a troubled teen and her teacher with who comes to be tutored with unexpected consequences for both. Savage World, which is inspired by the life of Hurricane Carter, who you saw Denzel Washington portray in the movies. Steve got to interview him. Steve Fife, F-I-F-E, got to interview him one-on-one. And this is sort of based on his interviews. But we're also going to be streaming only exclusive Arc Theater Company content, arknoho.org. We're going to be streaming exclusively his actual interviews with Hurricane Carter, which have never been heard before anywhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got a rom-com called In the Mood, which is the story, unlikely love triangle between a guy, a girl, and their waiter at a fashionable restaurant. And
why not?
It's great. It's great fun. And then a story, we're going to wait till after COVID. Steve has a play called The Blessing, which is, it's got a lot of physical comedy. And so it would have to be staged properly. It'd be like trying to do a stage reading of the Marx Brothers or something. It just wouldn't work. But we've got a great show called Fun with Freud by Steve Fife, where you have Sigmund Freud in the afterlife, finding things are different maybe than he expected. And it's going to be streaming. We're in the process of casting that now. You can go to backstage.com if you want to submit for Fun with Freud. And that will be a streamed performance as well. All cyber theater at arknoho.org.
I'm so impressed. Thank you so much, Andy. You've been amazing. You've had such a varied career. You're obviously well studied, and could you talk 1 second about studying at the Shakespeare? Did you say the?
Yeah, I was a member of the National American Shakespeare Company, which was at that point located here in LA, and housed at the 2 theaters, one in Pasadena and one on Riverside Drive. And that was the Knightsbridge Theaters that were run by Joseph Statura, who was the great actor and manager and Shakespearean actor himself. And through that, I got to work with Jonathan Arkin, who's now an actor, director, producer there in New York. I got to work with Nancy Jane Smeets, a lot of incredible people with some incredible shows. 12th Night and Coriolanus, things like Coriolanus, which I like, you don't get to see. And my lifetime love has been for Shakespeare. And the Art Theater Company, along with Anthony Malone, who is an African-American actor who graduated from Stella Adler, is going to be studying at Oxford this fall. We're going to attempt to do all 30-something plays in the Shakespeare canon in the course of what we're doing.
I have to play Titania. I'm dying to play Titania.
There you go.
What angel
There you
wakes
go.
me from this flowery bed? I pray thee, gentle mortal, sing again for mine ears, much enamored of thy note. Come on.
See, kids, we're auditioning online right before your very eyes. So yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do. And the wonderful things that we're working on right now, which the National American Shakespeare Company installed me. I also got to study with John Houseman when I was in college, who was one of the original members of Mercury Theater with Orson Welles, who older people remember as Professor Kingsfield on The Paper Chase. But we're going to be working with a lot of people of color. We're going to be working with Brian Upgraft, who works with Native American causes. Did you know, Cindy, that Native Americans across the board make up less than 1% of the entertainment industry in any category? Less than 1%. They're the most perhaps underrepresented. Yeah.
Did quite a job on them when we came over and took over America.
We did. And most people who play Native American roles are not Native American, even when they're good actors like Johnny Depp. He's not Native American. There's a famous commercial with a Native American Indian crying over how littered America is with bottles and stuff. Not Native American.
Oh, really? No.
Yes.
Oh,
Surprising, right?
Oh.
Most stories about Native Americans, not Native American writers, not Native American directors, cinematographers, wardrobe, makeup, what have you. So Brian Upgraft, with his project Blazing a Trail, he's a member of a tribe, and he is going to be working with Native Americans and with us to put together a soup to nuts entertainment educational system for training, some online and some hands-on, in acting, directing, writing, cinematography, storyboarding, makeup, costumes, hair, everything from soup to nuts, so that we can help bend the curve of underrepresentation. Less than 1%.
That's terrible. And thank you for doing that. And I'm so impressed with all the work you're doing. So our time is up, but give us the website again. Tell us how to find you. Give us all your stuff.
www.arcnoho.org. If you're a man or a woman, if you're a veteran or you've never served, if you're fully abled or differently abled, if you're red and yellow, black, brown, white, tan, pink, blue, purple, whatever your race, color, or creed, come join us. There's a place for you. We're all created in the image of a creator to be creative. And Father Jamie St. Anthony, who does we have live services on Sunday from the Arc Theater, he would send his blessing to you and would encourage you to be one of those creative people. Whether you do it with brick and mortar or pen and pencil or your acting craft or your voiceover, create. We're all image of creator to be creative. So thank you, Cindy. Visit arcnoho.org. That's the Arc Theater Company. And I'm Andy Libby, the managing director, saying bye-bye and bye-bye.
There's our Kimbrough. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Andy. I love it. Thank you. And thank you, Kimbrough. Hello. I like your little red.
Bye, Cindy. Thanks to you,
Bye,
Kimbrough.
darling. Bye-bye. Thank you.
All right. Great job, guys.
Okay. Signing off. Thank you. See you next week.